Hey guys, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Jess and I am a homeschool mom, 2 kids and 1 on the way, so 3 I guess, but I'm not homeschooling this one. And my daughter is 5, my son is 3, and I like to just share kind of my journey starting homeschooling this past year, the things, just kind of documenting. I'm really not at a place where I can give like tips and tricks because I'm still new to this homeschooling preschool type of thing, but I wanted to just kind of document and share and kind of be really real with you. I don't know, I just hope that my channel, I don't give the impression that I have everything put together and figured out. This is just real life, and I am just trying to do the best that I can with what I have and the knowledge and wisdom that I have, and also the guidance of the Lord. And so in this video I want to give my end of year review. We're at the end of the school year, I guess you could say, although I am planning on doing all the way through summer, but kind of wanted to give a wrap up of the things that worked well for me, and then also the things that kind of just fell to the side. I don't want to say that they like failed or didn't work because maybe I just didn't give them a fair shot, but just things that I had high hopes for back in September when we started, and I didn't quite get around to it. I'm going to insert some of the things that worked well, little video clips of my kids doing them, and then also share like some show and tell here with you. So let's get right into it. Alright, so the first thing that really worked for me, and again I have a 5-year-old who, she turned 5 in March, so she was for the most part, you know, 4, late 4s. And then I also have my son Silas, who's 3. He turned 3 in December. I've been doing kind of separate things with them, but majority of the things that worked, I actually did together with them. So the first thing that I really tried to sit down and have some goals, really easy goals for myself, and one of them was to have my kids understand what a calendar was and what the days of the week were. So we did the songs like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I had them do that every morning. We did the days of the week, we did our calendar, which really they love doing that, the Melissa and Doug calendar. And that doesn't just have like a calendar of the day, it also has how you feel and stuff. So that really worked well, and my kids looked forward to doing that. Even if we weren't really doing school that day, they still asked if we could do the calendar because they really enjoyed that. And towards the end of the year here, they really understood, okay, if yesterday was Tuesday, then today is, and sometimes they didn't get it right away, but they could sing the song in their head, and then they could figure out, oh, today's Wednesday, and then tomorrow will be Thursday. And I'm glad that we at least got that established in the school year. Also, the thing that we do before calendar is prayer journal and Bible time. The Bible that I used was this illustrated Bible. I just kind of went through it and read in order. It goes through Genesis through Revelation and all the Bible stories, and it's quite biblically accurate. I mean, it doesn't have verses or anything like that, but it does have really pretty pictures, and it's not fluffy. It's actually used words that sometimes I would have to explain, or I would just say the big words and they would understand it eventually, and it was like really quick. And then they also did the prayer journal, which I showed in my weekly video. I can link that above. And when I did that in September, I believe, that was really great because they got to just sit down before we started our day and kind of evaluate where we were, our hearts were, and we did something that we're thankful for. We prayed about that, and we also asked the Lord to help us with something that day. So they took turns doing that. It was just something sweet and reflective, and also just kind of giving our day to the Lord before we even start our day. Another thing that I really wanted to do was to have my kids be able to count to, well, have Silas, my son, who's 3, be able to count to 20, and then have my daughter be able to count to 100 by the end of the school year. And I know that's a little bit advanced for preschool, but they are already really loving their numbers. We had some cool puzzles and games that would teach it, and they caught on really fast. My son actually likes counting to 100 more than my daughter does, so yeah, I find that he really grabbed onto numbers and the concept of numbers and the sequence of numbers a lot quicker So now at the end of this school year, they both know how to count to 100 and they know how to identify numbers. My daughter is still a little bit weak in that, but I'm sure it's just because I don't quiz her on it or talk about it every single day. My son, though, can see like a 7 and a 6 and know that says 76, where my daughter knows there's two, like a 7 and a 6. She may not just be able to put 76 together as quickly, which is fine. They also learned their 7 continents, and that was really quick. There's a song that I found on YouTube. The reason I wanted this is it's a little bit probably out of order to teach geography in preschool, but we joined Classical Conversations, and in Classical Conversations, it's a homeschool group. I will have a whole video on my experience my first year with that coming up, but we do a lot of maps and geography with Classical Conversations, so I wanted them to understand while they were going through that. I wanted to at home kind of re-implement where the continents were, and I felt like it was really easy and something they actually had fun doing because there was a song with it, there's a puzzle we did, and also like a little manipulative thing that I printed off online, so they really enjoyed that. Yeah, they're getting it down, they're mastering it pretty well, so I'm glad that we, you know, have a general idea of the world and the 7 continents. So as I just mentioned, Classical Conversations, or CC as it's, you know, easily said and not being tongue twisted, that worked really well for us. I'm going to make a whole video about it. There are pros and cons, but most of it was pros for us and my family, and so I'm really glad that we did that. It was every Monday that we met for Community Day, and it was something that just really helped to, even if I felt like I didn't do anything else, homeschool for the rest of the week, I had that there, knowing that my kids were getting something. Now, it was mainly just my daughter. She was the one that signed up. My son, though, was watching from a distance, or from a short distance, because I was a helper in the class for the first 12 weeks. And then the last 12 weeks, I actually became the tutor, or the teacher. So that was interesting. I could talk about that too, but altogether, all in all, CC was a great thing that worked for us in this last year, because again, even when I felt like I kind of, all other homeschool kind of fell off the grid because I got pregnant in January and was really sick and stuff, I still felt like they had something that they were learning and propelling them forward academically. Even though it's just preschool, it still is just nice to know that that was there. Something else that was really nice to know and to have was read-alouds, and my favorite read-alouds this year were the Winnie the Pooh books, the Winnie the Pooh books, not Disney's Winnie the Pooh, but these ones, I got these on thrift books, so really inexpensive, but they're, they smell like old book. They don't have like colored pictures or anything, or this one doesn't. This edition here does have color pictures, but still not a lot of pictures for how many words there are that they're listening to. I read this to them while they were eating lunch, and they sat and ate quietly and listened, and I was amazed because there were times where I had to reread like something that Pooh said, because if you've read these before, they're not just really simple dumbed down books. They are simple, but the way they're written, it's kind of Old English a little bit, not crazy like thee and thou Old English, but still just a little bit different than how we talk nowadays. And they also are a little bit poetic, and Pooh likes to put in little songs and humdy-dums throughout, so it's just kind of a neat format and thing to listen to. And I was really surprised when I would ask them questions afterwards that they actually retained some things and enjoyed it and laughed when things were funny, and so I enjoyed reading it to them, and I think they really enjoyed being read to. Something else that I loved to know that my kids were getting every day is the Fluency Binders. So these are the 2 binders that I put together. I found out about this concept actually through JDA. She's very popular here on YouTube. I'm sure you may have seen her. If not, definitely check her out. She has a lot of great content. After calendar time, my kids would pull out their binders, and we would go through Sometime we would always re-implement the calendar. So I had this calendar page here, and I'm not going to go through the whole Fluency Binder, but just as far as what worked, these really worked. So I would also go through, let's say Brooklyn, my daughter, was working on creating circles, because that was part of her handwriting curriculum that week or something. I would put that in there and make sure that she's doing circles. And all of this is dry erase. And so the dry erase, you know, obviously you can do it over and over and over again. And so I would laminate, or I would put them in page protectors, certain things that I just wanted to really get in their little brains over and over again. So calendar, alphabet, numbers, shapes, and pretty much that was it, although I know I could add more to the Fluency Binder. And something that kind of coincides with the Fluency Binder are like these Fluency, I don't know what you call them, like print and stick. They are, I have a whole folder here of pages that I found. Again, I think these are all on JDA's Teachers Pay Teachers website. So I would print this out and I laminated them, and then they have just easy like phonics, beginning letter sounds that they could peel and stick, and they can do this on their own. So I would just take all the stickers off, and they're Velcro. And then I could, you know, if Brooklyn was working on this, I could work with something with Silas, or I could have them both be working on this while I figure out what I'm going to do next in the day. So this was just really great. There are many, many different concepts. So we have phonics, like lights and heavy concept here, and actual reading. My son actually is able to read these words, and these are called CVC words, consonant, vowel, consonant, just 3-letter words that have a vowel in the middle and just easy to read. They are, like I said, words that my son was actually able to read by the end of this school year, and I wasn't even teaching him formally at all, and he kind of caught on just by listening to my lessons with my daughter. And he also understands just how letters sound, and so he was able to put those words together, and they never really got bored with them. They would do those probably like 3 times a week, and they never really got bored with them, and they didn't seem to memorize them to where they were just like, yeah, I know what this is and whatever. So it just really worked for us, and I am actually looking to make more of that kind of thing with CVC words, or maybe more of the words that we're going to be doing that Brooklyn will be learning. But currently we're just still reusing those, and they're working great. Another thing that worked really well was All About Reading, and I did the All About Reading level 1 with Brooklyn, and I've been doing that actually quite slowly, at a very slow pace. I haven't really done a whole lot of the formal lessons, but I've used their manipulatives. So they have flashcards in every lesson that you introduce to your child. And I use those flashcards quite a bit, and my daughter loved them because we created this drawing game. I noticed she loved drawing, and she was drawing all over a bunch of different papers and just really got into drawing lately. And so I thought, what if we made a game out of this where we took our words and created funny stories out of them. We would just pull out a word, and then she would read it, and then she would draw that on her interpretation of it on the board, and we would create kind of a funny sentence or a funny landscape about it, and she loved that so much. And then actually my son was able to read the words too and do that with us, so we did that quite a bit. So I just think that that was a kind of a neat way to use All About Reading. Even though I wasn't going through the lessons per se, we were still really just going over reading small words and understanding phonics over and over again. And they also had activities that I decided to laminate, and I think I actually showed it in my video in September. And so we were still using those where they match the words to the picture underneath the picture, and that was another part of All About Reading that really worked for us. But all in all About Reading really has worked well for us. I just haven't done the full lessons with all the different fluency pages and all the different things. We have worked slowly through it. and it's working well that way. And lastly, coloring. Coloring and like drawing has really been a big thing for Brooklyn lately. In the beginning of the year, she really didn't like coloring at all, and when she did color, she didn't color in the lines. But I've noticed just organically, she's really picked up coloring, and I've always had easy to reach crayons and coloring books and paper and things like that for her. And so in the last about 2 months, she has just been getting out notepads by herself and drawing and coloring and even trying to spell words out. She's really cute, you know, papers. There's one actually right back there that says, "I hope you feel better, Mommy." It's not at all spelled right. Some of it is, some of it's not. Like feel is just F-E-L, because she's like feel, okay, you know, like we haven't learned 2 E's yet, but she's still trying to spell things out. She's drawing. I have a book for her that's like how to draw people and type of, so she's loving that. And she's coloring in the lines. So yeah, I'm really happy about that. And that's definitely something that she just kind of picked up organically. And when I realized that's an interest of hers, now I've been kind of, like I said, with the reading and the drawing on the board, I've been trying to do more things that will incorporate drawing and coloring and all of that. So, okay, really quick, the things that kind of fell to the side for me that I didn't quite stick to, or I didn't quite do what I thought I would do, are handwriting. And the big reason I think why I didn't is because my daughter was so reluctant in doing it. I mainly stuck with Horizons, and it's kind of a cut and dry, kind of repetitive, kind of not. Like, we're starting to get back into it this past week, and she's actually liking it now. But before, she was always saying her hand hurts. She just would always complain and like say, nope, I don't want to do school if I'm going to have to write. So that I just kind of put on hold and said, all right, we're not going to do that. Maybe if I would have tried a different curriculum. But again, this whole school year, I feel like just didn't go the way I thought it would. I didn't quite stay consistent like I thought I would, the consistent schedule and stuff. So that's why I'm not giving tips and tricks. I'm just documenting this and maybe letting you know that if you didn't stay consistent, write it down, because honestly, I'm surprised. I didn't realize, like, until I wrote this down this morning about the things that we actually did well in, I was feeling kind of down about the school year. But then I realized, okay, for preschool, there's actually some good things that we took away from this year. And so, you know, I think it was very beneficial to just be positive and write down the positive things too. But handwriting was not one of them. Also, her pencil grip. I'm not saying it to put her down at all, because I've tried. I've tried different pencil grips. She just has a very unique grip, and I might just let her do that because she's able to form her letters. But I don't know. I don't know how much to like try to correct it, because then she gets frustrated with writing. So I just let her hold her pencil the way she wants, and I use these little pencil grip helpers, different things. Showed her videos of how to do different things. So I don't know what to do, but it's okay. I'm not really frustrated with it. It's just something that in the back of my mind I know, that's, you know, that could be better. But, and also handwriting, like, she knows how to write a lot of her capital letters just by reading probably. I'm not sure. We've never really gone through something very like formal, but she knows how to spell her whole name, which is like 12 letters long. And so, you know, she knows how to do all those letters and most of her capital letters. And I think we'll probably be working on that in this summer, and maybe even get a different curriculum. I'm not sure. I feel like though Horizons might be working now, so we'll see. Okay, math. Math was something that kind of fell to the side, but at the same time, we talked a lot about adding. We talked a lot about, like, and I used different manipulatives, but I started out using Saxon kindergarten. And I actually saw some reviews that said, don't get kindergarten for Saxon because it's silly. And now I understand why. It just didn't work for us. I don't know how to explain it, and I maybe could figure out my thoughts and put it together in a different video. But I know that I bought like $60 worth of manipulatives now that I'm not sure. We've been able to use those, like counting bears. I didn't really do what the curriculum said. I just used counting bears in my own way and we, you know, added and had fun with counting bears. Also the pattern shapes and all of that we've used, and some of the blocks, and so we've used some of the manipulatives. I just have not used the curriculum barely at all. I'm definitely looking at a different curriculum for the summer and the fall and the next school year for math, because she's already wanting to add and talking about adding and subtracting, and so in CC and classical conversations they were doing skip counting, multiplication, and things like that. So I think we just need to find a curriculum that works for us, and yeah, I'm on the lookout for that. And science. So I want to say that science fell to the side, but at the same time I feel like with preschool and kindergarten, science isn't like learn about, you know, all the crazy ins and outs of things. It's more of just general science, general concepts. And so classical conversations on Mondays, we would have two science experiments, or hands-on, or break apart rocks, and just a bunch of cool different things. So I kind of feel like she got some good science there. And then also in our memory work, every week we had science. So she even like was eating a candy. It was like a malt ball, and so she bit into it and there was a core in it, you know, and she's like, Mom, this is like the Earth, because Earth has a core. So science, we didn't stick to a science curriculum or any unit studies or anything cool like that, but altogether, I still feel like we learned about things. We learned because of classical conversations, and also because of the books that I have laying around our house. We have a lot of awesome Usborne books that are Lift the Flaps and you know, Shine the Lights, where they just are very interactive books that, you know, the big book of bugs and the big book of sea creatures and stuff like that. So I think they really did get some science there. And then also some shows that they like to watch. They like to watch this Wildcrats. There is a villain in Wildcrats that kind of, you know, we talk about attitude and stuff like that after we watch or while we're watching the show, but they do learn a lot about you know, different animals and stuff in there. There is evolution stuff that I don't agree with, but you know, we talk about that too. It just gives different talking points. All right, so that's a lot longer video than I thought it would be. I'm sorry about it being so long, but I do hope that this was helpful, or it's going to be helpful for me to be able to look back and document this journey. So hopefully maybe it was helpful to some of you. Just know I am not sitting here thinking that I don't even know if we're gonna do the same things for next year. I just know kind of what worked for us, what kind of fell to the side, and I tried. And I think that sometimes that's the hardest part, is just figuring out where to start and what to try. So that's something that I'm learning. Is it's, you know, there's a lot of curriculum, and it's not all one size fits all. It's not all glam and beauty and everything's all together. A lot of times we do our school on the floor, or not always at our table. You know, it's just being flexible and kind of your own thing, whatever you want it to be. You can have like schoolhouse, like have your own schoolroom and have it be a little bit more structured and start at the same time every day, or you can be like us and just being more flexible, and we don't start at the same time every day, but we do try to stick with the same routine, you know. And anyways, I can also go into that. So yeah, I hope that you guys are having a great spring and heading into summer, if that's when you're watching this, or just having a great day. And I wish you all the best if you are endeavoring on this journey of homeschooling. I'd love to get to know you. I'd love to kind of have this be a place for mothers and dads, homeschool families, to support each other and to encourage each other and to get, you know, bounce ideas off, and yeah, just know that we're not alone. So hope you guys have a great day. Bye.